Good Business San Diego. Sponsored by Wilsey Asset Management.
Following portion of Good Business San Diego is sponsored by Wilsey Asset Management. Well, the real estate market is always a hot topic of conversation. What impact will real estate investors have on the market's future? Brent Wilsey, the president of Wilsey Asset Management, is here with some thoughts.
Thank you, Roy. And yes, real estate, you talk to your broker, you talk to other people in real estate. Yeah, it has kind of slowed down somewhat, and brokers saying, yeah, kind of a tough time. But, before we get in the investors part, I do want to talk about real estate a little bit more. We had last week, builder sentiment came out, and that's where builders talk about how their traffic for their homes were and who's closing and so forth. Well, it actually dropped from 34 down to 32, a 2-point decline there. They did expect it to go up by 1 point to 35, but it did not. It went down. So builders are a little bit concerned. And what's also amazing, too, is that of the sales they made, about 2/3 or 66% of those sales, they had incentives on those homes to get those homes sold. Could have been lower mortgages, could have been free landscaping, could have been something else, but they have to do incentives to sell those homes. Now, the other thing that's happening too is that we saw last week that over the last 9 months, we're now at a low for mortgage rates. That sounds good, but mortgage rates still average about 6.6%. I want to point out to people as well, I know we talk about the Fed reducing rates and that should be good. That is on the shorter end. If they do reduce rates, which I'm not convinced they will, but if they do, that's not going to affect the mortgage market. Mortgage rates are set more by your 10-year treasury, your longer notes, your longer bonds. Therefore, I don't see those coming down. Actually, they could actually increase over time because of the big need for debt. So I do not see mortgage rates dropping. I don't think we'll ever see them in the near future below 6%, so be prepared for that. But let's talk about the investors, because investors now, they account for 30% of the sales of new and existing homes. That's an all-time high. It's never been that high before. And your smaller investors, who account for about 25% of that 30%, and they're generally ones who have 3 to 9 homes, they account for a big part of that as well. And these are people that had a lot of cash. And keep in mind, across the country, homes are not always $1 million like here in San Diego, but across the country, people are buying more homes for cash. Well, what is surprising is if 25% of small builders, well, 5% is from your large builders, and they're actually reversing course. They're actually, and if you remember a few years ago, they were buying homes like crazy. People complain like, oh, these big investors are buying all the homes up. Now they're starting to sell them. Why are they selling them? Because they're not getting the return that they want on the investment from the rents. The appreciation is not there. So they're starting to sell their homes. Now, I don't think we'll see a crash in the housing market, but I don't see big gains in the market coming forward either. I think we'll have a rather stable market for years to come. Keep in mind, we had those big gains a few years ago. Things don't keep going up 15 to 20% every year. You've got to pull back, have a little bit of patience here, because the earnings of people earning money did not keep up with the growth. For the house called affordability index is very low, so that's going to change. So I do want to talk about the newsletter that all this information is on, smartinvesting2000.com. Other topics we have in the newsletter that make you a smarter investor, mixed inflation results, the positives and negatives, we talk about that. Very important, the debt for the federal government hit $37 trillion last week. What does that mean to you? We talk about in the newsletter. And then also, too, a big surge in the delinquencies for student loans. What's going on there? We talk about that in the newsletter. It is free. Go to our website, smartinvesting2000.com. Again, smartinvesting2000.com. Roy, back to you.
All right, Brent, thanks so much. The preceding portion of Good Business San Diego, sponsored by Wilsey Asset Management, and we will be right back with more of the show right after this.